What's up, YouTube? This is plagiousjenkinsgames coming at you on the ParadoxCnC YouTube channel. This time, instead of having a deck profile, I have a little concept for you. How many times has this happened to you? Your opponent goes first, and they set a monster and set 2 back row, and they simply end their turn. Knowing more than not, one of those back rows is a Mystical Space Typhoon. And you have your starting hand, and I just kind of threw something together. You have like a motherfucking Quillin, a Turtle, a Fiendish Chain, a Duality, Mystical Space Typhoon, and the Solemn Warning. The important thing is you have a Mystical Space Typhoon. Now, the thing I've always seen people do, which I don't think is right, is they start their turn off, they motherfucking blind MST. MST, hit that. Okay, you hit the bottomless. Congratulations, but as we all said, one of those MSTs is an MST. Now, what happens when this happens? You just fucking lost your MST. Now, what would have been the proper route? The proper route would have probably been to motherfucking summon that turtle and try to bait out some of these traps and use that MST for when it's really important. You know, maybe start your turn off duality. If you duality into an MST where you have 2 MSTs in hand, go for it. Pop, pop, go. But duality would have been the proper starting response. Now, yes, I understand. Probably the best move to do would have been to start off Turtle, set 3, and then when you end your turn, your opponent is most likely going to chain MST and blindly target one of your trap cards, which, as we just said, blindly MST is not a good thing. Now, granted, you just set all of these cards, so you can't chain your own MST, but they're probably going to hit one of your traps or your MST. That's all fine and dandy, because now you got that MST out of the way for you to safely just do your shit. Granted, you know, you're going to summon Turtle unless this card is really fucking important to their combos. You know, getting their face-down monster's effect off or whatever it is really important. They're not going to use a bottomless trap hole on your turtle, especially if they know you're playing Boojins. They're going to wait for that Yamato. But the point is, don't blind MST. Bait those traps out. You know, take your time, bait your traps out. You know, summon this, and then next turn, summon your turtle, you know, and then you're going to overlay for your Susanoo. They're going to use that bottomless trap hole on your Susanoo. Now, there is one instance where I feel blind MST is perfectly acceptable, and that is you have Tenki in hand, or any continuous spell card, spellbook, the Grand Spellbook Tower, something where you need it to resolve. You absolutely need it to resolve, because no matter what, when you blind MST, you're going to hit something that is important for that turn. You're either going to hit their bottomless, or you're going to hit their own MST. If you hit their own MST, bam, you got your Tenki going. Then you can search your Yamato, you summon that Yamato, it gets bottomless. Even in this instance, blind MST is okay, but then just vaguely throwing your monster you just, you know, blind MST'd and hoped for, and summoning that Yamato, you know, that bear, that whatever it is that you just searched out, you know, it's all for naught if it gets bottomless right away. So, again, search on that Yamato, get that Yamato in hand. Now that it's in hand, go for either Quillen or Turtle. Personally, I'd go for Turtle, because if they destroy Turtle and send it to the graveyard, that's a lot better than Quillen in graveyard. Because, you know, it is protect that Yamato. Next turn, you know, you're going to probably set these. You hit that MST with your MST, set these, and you're pretty much safe for this turn. You got the Yamato, you got the Quillen in hand. You attack into this, whoop-de-fucking-do. It's whatever. Whatever card, be it Raikou, whatever, or doesn't even have to be something that has a flip effect, or any type of effect. They're just trying to gauge what you're playing. And then they're going to summon whatever they do, you know, Fiendish Chain, Warning It, whatever you have to do to make sure that Turtle stays on grave. Because then what you're going to do is you're going to summon that Quillen. Your opponent is still not going to bottomless it because they know you have a Yamato in hand. Or they know you have a Bear in hand. Or they know you have a Koss in hand. So they're not going to do anything to these two cards because they're saving that for the Koss or the Bear or the Yamato. You're going to overlay these and make something that forces them to activate that bottomless trap hole. You're going to, well, in this situation, more often than not, you're going to go for that Susanoo. Now, your opponent has one choice. They can either let you detach and search another Yamato, or they can bottomless. Congratulations, you just baited out their trap. Next turn, you are safe to summon that Yamato, and you are safe to get going. You've baited their traps out. You've done all you can. Now, there is a point in the game where you just have to play aggressive. You have to just do something. I advise rarely if ever, Blind MST. Bait traps out. Do what you have to make sure your plays go off. Like I said, the only time it is safe to Blind MST, or it is a good idea, is if you hit their own MST, it'll benefit by allowing you to do something along the lines of activating something that must resolve. Be it, you know, a Tenki, a Spellbook Tower, here it is, where is it? You know, an Infernity Launcher, something that has to resolve so that when it gets destroyed, you get your effect. So, you know, if you MST Spellbook Tower on activation, it misses its timing. It misses its timing. You don't get the special summon. So making sure that Tower resolves is very important. You know, activating Infernity Launcher. It is a continuous. So in order for you to activate it and then send it to the graveyard to special summon your two Infernity monsters, it has to resolve. If it gets MST'd, hooray, your combo's done. Tenki has to resolve in order for you to get your Surge. If it gets MST'd, you don't get shit. So that is the only time I feel that it is completely necessary to just blind MST, because you're going to hit something of importance. You know, if you MST and MST and you don't have one of these cards in hand, you just wasted an MST. So that is today's video. Like, favorite, subscribe to ParadoxCnC. Check out my channel for some video gaming stuff. Currently, I am still doing the I Suck at Call of Duty, and we just started a new show called Boss Fight of the Week. We've done Fontaine from Bioshock and Scourge from Gears of War 2, and right now I'm doing a really fast playthrough of Resident Evil 4. We're going to do every boss from Resident Evil 4, because I can walk you through that stuff and show you guys the easiest way to do all of those bosses. So that is the concept for today's video. To blind MST or not to blind MST? That is always the question, and the answer, more often than not, is don't blind MST. It's not a good idea. So Until next time, this is Plagius Jenkins, signing out. Peace out, guys.